Hello guys and welcome back to Zombie Vega. Today in Satisfactory we'll be talking about pipes and lines. Those long ones over there. Okay, so what is pipes and pipelines? Below us now we've got the two different variants currently in the game, which is the MK1 and the MK2. That is why they look different. So the difference between MK1 and MK2 is how much they can actually hold in themselves. So MK1 has a flow rate of 300, MK2 has a flow rate of 600. Now these ones can transport liquids, so where you need the conveyor belts for physical items for liquids and fluids, you need a pipeline. Now, exactly the same as with a conveyor belt, you can upgrade an MK1 to an MK2. So we'll do that now. I can upgrade this to an MK2, or I can downgrade it from an MK2 to an MK1. Exactly like we can do with a conveyor belt. Okay, so how do you use the pipes and how do they work? Now, if you go into your building menu here, you'll notice that under logistics, pipeline supports is here in the first part, and then you get to the pipelines itself. Pipeline MK1, MK2, a pipeline junction cross, very handy, pump MK1, pump MK2, and a valve. Now we'll get to the pump and the valves in a bit as well. But let's see how the function of a pipe works. So you get different buildings that utilize this, from oil all the way down to, if you can look at that oil, and this one is blue, that one is black, because that one is carrying oil, this one is carrying water. If I look on the actual pipeline itself in use, you'll notice that in the GUI it says water. This shows how much is in the in this pipeline section itself. This gives you your flow rate, current flow rate, max flow rate, and this is a nice little gauge just to give you some more info. So I've got a water extractor here. Now this water extractor is currently not doing anything because the whole system is full. But if I now go into this is a holding tank or a buffer, a small fluid buffer. So if I take this fluid buffer, you can see it's currently full at 400. I can flush this buffer. That water will start flowing in, and you can see the pipeline is now active. It's actually pumping water. And if we look on this, you'll notice that I've got max flow rate of 300 currently in the system. Now, I've got two exact same setups here with one slight difference. We've got two water extractors, piece of pipeline, and a fluid buffer. But if I have to go up to this fluid buffer, you will notice that this fluid buffer is not filling up. It is empty. This water extractor does have power, as you can see there. And if we look on here, it has power, but it's doing nothing. It is full. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem here is head lift. Because that pipeline and pump and buffer is all on the same plane, there is zero head lift basically between those. Now head lift means how high up the water has to go via the pipe. Now if we go over to this one and have a look, you'll notice that those are pretty high up, and it's trying to pump up this, but it cannot because of the head lift restriction that we've got. Now how do you fix this? We go down back to pumps. Now we'll just use a MK1 pump, but as I've got this pump in my hands, you'll notice that it's got this little blue ring going up and down the pipe. That shows you exactly how high this pump can push the water up, aka the head lift, that it now can add and pump this through the actual pipes itself. Now if I put this down, this pump is going to start up for just a small second because I've now added a new section of water, and then it's going to die off again. That is because pumps, you'll see that the pump isn't working. It's going to spin up and spin down, but pumps have to have power. So without power, they can't do anything. So we'll just quickly grab some power here from this mess here. We'll just grab it from this pole here. We should have enough. Wait, I grabbed the wrong thing. Power line. Okay, so let's add a power line. And you'll see as soon as I add that to this, the pump is going to start up. There we go. You can see the animation. The pump is actually pumping. And this water extractor is now pushing up, and you can see that pipe is now going up. Now the GUI of this will also tell you exactly what the max head lift of this is. Currently it has got a head lift of 15.2. It's going to climb as it stabilizes. MK1 pumps have a head lift max of 20. So you can see we're climbing still. We're still far off from the max head lift. But this is pumping and going full on, and this is now filling up this fluid buffer quite nicely. So yes, we've got a working system. All you need to do is add the pump, and there you got your pipeline is working fully, and this should be filling up pretty quickly now. There we go. This one is going to be full. That one is already full as well. Okay, now back down to our little demo area. What is a cross junction? Now this is the junction cross that we've got here. They can rotate in quite a few different ways. So without being, you add them to any piece of pipe, and as you can see, this is for joining different pipes together. So these two are currently not connected. If I build one there and I build one there, I now have a junction cross between these two, and I can select my pipe and join them together. There is no way to just quickly grab and add to this, so even though I can do that, I need my junction cross first, which will add the functionality for me to join these two pipes together. And this is now one section of pipe. Okay, now that moves nicely into our second part, and this is how to properly use and balance pipes. Now what you'll notice here is I've got another water extractor. This is extracting into a industrial water buffer. So we've got this fluid buffer here, and this one is almost full, completely full. But I've got two setups here just to demonstrate something. Imagine this is a factory, and this these small little fluid buffers here is whatever you are feeding into, be it for oil production, for fuel. There's quite a few different uses that you can use it. Coal production with water, it doesn't matter. Just imagine this is a working factory. Now what most people do is they do exactly this. They've got one pipe network, and they just connect them all, and they're going to run into a few small issues, and I can actually demonstrate that pretty easily. So what I'm going to do is just connect that system up with this system. So I'm going to take that into this. Now what you'll notice is as I've connected that, you can see the water starting to pump out. This one is starting to pump, that one is starting to pump, but the bottom ones aren't. So the flow rate in these are pretty high. That's 130. This is half of that at 60. This is half of that at 30, and this is half of that at 16. And as you go down the line, this very last one is probably close to 0. Now if this is a working factory and you are overloading it, the water will always flow to the first part, and you will always have this issue with the bottom part not getting enough whatever fluid is needed. So what I've built here on the side is a demonstration of how to use the next part, the one part we haven't discussed yet, which is your not the pump itself, sorry, what is the valve. So what I've got on here is I've got two valves. Now you can add valves pretty easily to any pipeline, the same with pumps. The only difference is they don't need any power. Now if you look at this, by rotating it, it is directional. So this valve is very directional. It will stop anything from going the other direction. If I do it like this, water will always only flow in that direction. But what we've got on this side is a setup where I've got the pipeline split in two. I purposely built this with a 3-7 setup. So I've got 3 parts here in the front, so 3 semi or simulated factories, and at the back here I've got 4. So this is an unbalanced pipe. Now how do you balance that with a valve? Well, the valve can be set. So if you look here in the GUI of the valve, you can set this to a valve limit of how much it will allow through. Now because we've got a close to a 60-40 split here almost, but you can go into exact splits. We can do that and say 160 go through this, and through the pipeline on the second one, which only had 3, I can limit that to 140 or even less. So I can go to, let's like at 120. And if I now take this and I connect this fluid buffer up to this guy, you will notice that the pipelines are a bit more balanced. We've got water pumping through, and as it's going to go through the system, you can see that those ones are already starting to get water, and this is a lot more balanced because I'm now limiting the flow to each side. And as soon as the whole setup is backflowed, but you can already see water starting to flow via all of these, versus where this one right at the end, it wasn't getting any water flow whatsoever. Now this is going to take a while to fill up, but you can see that I've got a nice split here, and the valve is doing its job. It is limiting the flow rate to 120 for this one, and this one the flow is 158. So I'm limiting the flow to each side. I'm balancing it by myself. You can go even further and limit the flow rate into this, because this one will go up and down as the water increases. But let's say this factory, this fluid buffer is a factory that only needs 30. I can go and add another valve in here saying that let's limit this to always only 30. So let's just take this down all the way down to 30, and that is it. We now have a very nicely balanced system, and you can go into it very granularly, making sure that your factory is completely balanced. But just remember, head lift is most likely going to be your biggest enemy, and there is a simple fix that you can actually do. Fluid buffers are probably one of the most important things you can use. Now, out of every production, be it water, be it oil, be it whatever, I always like to make sure that I push my fluids into a fluid buffer at a higher level, because if I then have to pump it out, or if I have to connect that, it means that this will always flow down. I will never have head lift issues. So that means I can go and pump all of this water out to that, and then from there, it doesn't matter if these factories are down, I'm never going to have the issue of head lift coming into play and causing havoc on my system being balanced. So a small little tip is just build a fluid buffer after your output, be it water, be it oil. It also helps with, if the fluid buffer fills up, that if for some weird reason you're starting to run dry, you've got that few minutes extra to sort out your balancing act on whatever you're building in your factory. But yeah guys, I think that is it for fluids and pipes. I hope this helped someone. I hope you got something that will help you in your factory. If you've got any other tips and ideas, leave a comment below. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more of this, hit the subscribe. Until next time, this has been Zombie Vega. Bye.